91.9 KRVM. This is the Time Traveler. Hey guys, today I would like to talk to you about one of my first love. Not the first, but one of my first love, introduced by my brother, my older brother Ricardo. He introduced me to this incredible band up like mid 80s, talking about Marillion. And on top of that, I will talk to you about their second album, their second troubled album, Fugazi. So Fugazi was an album that was kind of like forced to Marillion by the major. So that is the problem with the second albums. You have the first album, of course. If that is the second, you first have the first album, and usually the first album comes after a few years that musicians are already chew on them. You know, like they get together, they put some music together, they start to do some cheap gigs, they go around small places, and eventually they get the a contract, and that they make an album, and usually it's fantastic because it's years of thinking about music. Well, the second album, usually they don't have much ideas left over from the first album, or some tunes they didn't make in the first album, and on top of that, they have a pressure from the major label to just come out with an album. And that's what happened to Marillion. They had, they had pressure even before they start to record the album, even before they start to put together the album, they already had a release date, and they get really close to it if you didn't pass it. So what happened? Happened that Fish didn't like the Mike Pointer, the drummer, so they decide to fire him, and now they are without a drummer. You know how it is with a band without a drummer. You don't have a drummer. So it's really hard to play music in a band if you don't have a drummer. So what they went through a series of drummers, and while they were looking for the drummer, they were still gigging for script for the Just a Tears, the first album, and no one drummer was able to get into the band. They didn't want a session drummer. They wanted a drummer that was part of the gang, of the band, of the brotherhood, of the family. Didn't happen. They went through several studios. Actually, the funny thing about this album is that it took them 10 studios to finish the mixing of the album. 10. They went through 10 studios. At one point, some of them were mixing. They were mixing in one studio a couple tunes. Some of them they were mixing on another studio other couple tunes, and just they were trying to crunch it down, try to make it happen because they had a date that they have to respect. But on top of that, they even had the first date for the first the concert for the tour of the album that came out to be Fugazi. Well, the struggle at one point to try to help them, they took it to up on a mountain. The studio in the mountain was a studio run by this guy, and they discovered immediately a cavern with inside a pusher. And yes, they were isolated on top of a mountain, but they discovered this guy. They had really good stuff, especially LSD. And they had fun with it. And 3 weeks after, they came out of the studio with just one tune, Assassin. Well, what happened is they were keep touring, and Fish kept writing. In the beginning, they thought there was going to be an album, a concept album like The Wall, something that they took on the album after that, Misplaced Childhood. But with Fugazi, they didn't, because every tune was so different to each other. They forced themselves to play music. They never had to actually play music together because of the first album, Script for Just a Tears, tunes were coming. Like one guy had one tune, one other guy had two. They assembled everything together, and then they created this great, amazing album. But with this one, they actually have to sit down and write together, and they didn't really know how to do that. Well, from the bunch of musician drummers, Ian Mosley emerged, and he was the guy that kind of like catalyzed the band. He was the guy that he was the star. He took everybody and said, okay, guys, now we talking about business. We're gonna sit down, stop goofing up, and we'll make an album. And what an album came out. Personally, is one of my favorite of Marillion. A lot of people don't like it. Marillion themselves, Fish themselves, they don't like it. They think it was, shoveled down their throat. But for me, it was amazing because when you try so hard to deliver something and you are as talented as they are, of course, something amazing came out, and something amazing came out. We're talking about from beginning to end, from Assassin, Punch and Judy, Emerald Lies, She Chameleon, Fugazi, Incubus. Incubus is absolutely a fantastic song. So if you are not familiar with Fugazi, second album of Marillion, go in, dig in, enjoy. It is an amazing album. Fabulous, fabulous, fabulous. Hey, there was another adventure of the Time Traveler here in my home studio where a lot of craziness get put together. Don't forget to subscribe if you like what you heard, and go check it out, krvm.org, our radio station. We are the oldest radio station in the nation, 75 years, and we are alive by donation. So if you feel like it, krvm.org, donate, donate, donate. Thank you. To the next adventure.